to Out of the Box Radio with me, your host, Christine Glasdale. Out of the Box Radio is a weekly podcast of audible ear candy dedicated to bringing a fresh perspective on this thing that we call life. And each and every week, we're going to be diving into the topics that matter most with lively conversations on issues such as health, wellness, and transformational healing, all with the goal of creating a better world and becoming a happier human being. I will be your tour guide for this epic adventure, and each and every week we're going to be embarking on a journey with the ultimate goal being transformation to our highest potential. And now, let's get out of the box. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Out of the Box with Christine. I am so very happy that you joined me today because I have a very special program for you. I have been introduced to this thing, this process, this magical miracle. I don't even know what to call it. It's called ozone. And I have with me a very, very special guest. We're calling her today, for reasons of mystery, our Ozone Tooth Fairy. Our fairy Ozone Tooth Fairy, our fairy godmother Tooth Fairy lady. We're in an undisclosed location, and we are going to be talking about ozone and the miraculous properties of ozone. First of all, welcome to Out of the Box with Christine.
Thank you, Christine. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to share my Tooth Fairy wonderful things that I've discovered with the ozone therapies. They can be used, we're going to talk about mostly teeth today, but they can be used all over the body to reverse dreadful conditions. And so, where should we start, Christine?
Well, let's start with what is ozone, because most people, when I've spoken to it with others, they think that it's something bad. They think it's, oh my goodness, the ozone, that's right. That's what gives us such bad cancer. And, you know, it's in the air, it's in the sky, it's bad for you. But let our listeners know, what is ozone?
Well, when you hear the news report and the weather report, the ozone is equated with the amount of trash in the air. So on a bad, smoggy Saturday morning in LA, when everyone who owns a car is driving it, all these petroleum products go into the air. But guess what? Ozone saves us. Ozone is 3 oxygen atoms together. That molecule is called ozone, and it's floating around ready to grab up the toxins and dispose of them. So ozone is really our friend. So we have lots and lots of ways to use ozone, not only to take away the smog, but also to clean our bodies. So it's just a wonderful molecule.
And I got a firsthand, I had my teeth were not in very great shape when I came to you, and we had only 3 treatments, right?
You were good in 2.
I was good in 2. You're right.
Yeah,
yes,
you were good in 2.
I couldn't believe the difference in my gums, the health of my gums, the strength of the teeth seemed to have built bone, and strengthened overnight. But that was something that I witnessed. Can you talk about some of the miraculous things that you've witnessed by yourself using ozone or others?
Yeah, we have lots and lots of examples, and I could talk all day and all night about all of the things it's done for me and all my patients. I teach classes to share. I teach people how to do the therapy for their friends and family. I'm just totally sold on it. I've been using it to whiten teeth for 9 years now. And so people come to me with a sad story of gum disease, bleeding gums, wiggly teeth, painful cavities, abscesses, then, of course, the dentist has a solution to this. The dentist says, well, we could do fillings and root canals and extractions and implants. And they bring to me these treatment plans where the dentist lists out all the teeth, 1 to 32, and each tooth has a treatment process and a price. And the bottom line of that price is frequently between $40,000 and $80,000.
Wow.
And so I say, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to use the ozone to whiten your teeth, kill the germs, and add ozone energy to the gums, the jaws, everything. And so we're going to do this once a week for 5 weeks, once a month for a year. And then you go find a new dentist and see what the new dentist has to say. Mm. And almost always, the new dentist a year later says, oh, your teeth look fine. Well, I'll see you next year. And oh my gosh, people just cry. They cry with joy. And it's changed my life because after all the work that I've done in dentistry all these years, 45 years, I've never seen anything so successful, dependably successful. We just never have a failure. You could say, I never have a failure, but if somebody thinks it's just too outrageous to think about and they don't believe me and they go away and they don't come back for a year, I'm still here for them. I'll start the process all over again. And eventually, everybody gets it. I've never had a single failure.
Like that. I know you do. Let's talk about your history in the industry, in the dentist industry. And you said 40, how many years?
45.
45. So
Yeah.
let's talk about the beginning and how dentistry looked at teeth and our gums and our dental health, and throughout the years, has much changed?
Huge.
Okay.
Huge. Yeah. When I was a teenager, my dad's office neighbor was a dentist, and the dentist needed an assistant. So they invited me, 16 years old, to come over and be the assistant when I wasn't in school. So I did that. And this dentist liked to make false teeth and crowns and bridges and things. And so I would be in the laboratory doing this like artwork, like lost wax to make a gold crown, setting up dentures to get all the little teeth right, in the right place. Look at a picture of the person's natural teeth and try to line it up just right. And then we'd cook those and fix them up, and the next morning the patient would come in, and the dentist would start pulling out all the teeth to put in this immediate denture. And frequently he would yank and tug and yank and tug and yank and tug. And I go, this tooth does not want to come out. How is it that we can leave the tooth there? And so I went to school and I did all the pre-dent and all the classes, and I finally graduated as a dental hygienist, and then I got the expanded function, then I got the independent, and then I taught giving injections in dental schools up and down the West Coast, and none of this really seemed too helpful. And then one day, helpful to the teeth and the owner, and then one day I was sitting in a dental seminar for 200 dentists were in the room, and at the 3 o'clock break, the speaker, Roy Bartoli, said, wait, before you go on this break, wait a minute, I think that you dentists are remiss for not ozoning the tooth before you put the restoration on. And I go, what's all that about? I never heard of that.
What's ozone?
What is this ozone that you're supposed to treat the tooth for a minute or so, not long, just a minute or so, before you cement the bridge or the crown or put the filling in? Yeah, I never heard of such a thing. So the ozone can clean the tooth, it can dry the tooth, it can harden the tooth that this new restoration is going to sit on. make it last longer, maybe forever. What a good deal. Okay, so I spent a lot of time over the next 2 days learning everything I could, and then I found a course from a wonderful dentist in Upland, California, named Dr. Bill Dome, and he taught safe ozone use in the mouth in dentistry to those of us that work in dentistry. And to this day, he goes to various countries and treats poor people, shows their dentists how to use ozone. He's just a wonderful man. And so I took in everything I learned from his 3-day seminar, which cost me $6,000. and got the equipment, got everything I needed. And I've been using the ozone on teeth 24/7, every patient I've seen for the last 9 years. So I have a huge following. I have more people on my schedule than the average dental personnel. And it works really well. And so my mission is to teach everybody how to do this. It's easy and simple. I can teach anybody in an hour or less. And the equipment is inexpensive. And there's 2 versions of looking at ozone in dentistry and medicine. There's the grassroots that uses a $100 machine from Shanghai. And then there's the expensive machines that come from Canada, Europe, all over. But we do grassroots. We do the cheap and easy kind. Very successful, not toxic, and very beneficial.
And you incorporate the less expensive machines for people because you want them to. Well, this is what I love about the work you do, is that it's not just, oh, well, you have to come to me and I'll save your teeth and that will cost you a lot of money. No, you make it reasonable and affordable for people, number one. Number two, you want to teach your patients how to upkeep their teeth with ozone, and you encourage them to get their own ozone machine and to use it themselves, which there's a big difference because there's some people that might be a little bit not so, I don't know how to say it. They might be a little bit more wanting to have all those profits themselves and say, oh, no, you have to, you can't do this on your own. You need to see me. You need to book time with me. But that's not you, is it?
Not me. Not me. This is grassroots. So, for example, Sunday, I work on Sundays. Sunday, a lady came to me. She drove 2 hours in the traffic to get here. When she got here, the left side of her face was all swollen because she had 2 implants done a week earlier. And she's very holistic. She's allergic to all the antibiotics. So she couldn't take antibiotics. So she's trying to figure out how to use clove oil and this and that. But obviously the germs were winning. And so she came to my place and she spent about 2 hours. And so when she first walked in, I'm looking at her face going, oh my gosh, this infection could spread through her entire body and kill her in 2 or 3 days.
Wow.
So that's what I was thinking, but of course I did not say that to her. And so she's also in the health industry, and she knew that the infection was growing, that she couldn't take antibiotics, she couldn't take sulfa drugs. How is she going to stop this infection caused by the 2 implants? Okay, so I sat her down at my little demonstration station, and I put in her hands the things she needed, the delivery tube that comes straight away from the ozone machine, which costs $100, the machine, and then a big fan to blow away the extras, a paper cup to drool into, and a little paper to blot her chin. And she stayed there for 10 minutes or so. And then she'd had enough, so we turned off the machine. She went for a walk. We chatted about this and that. She ended up treating herself 4 times on Sunday, just that same way. The swelling was down. The pain was gone. And then she got a 2-hour drive home. Poor thing. And then there was another good case today. She was told she needed a root canal. She didn't want the root canal. She's new to California. And so fortunately her friend brought her in here. And she says, all the people in California are so nice to me. And she's really sweet, really cooperative, really holistic minded. Again, I sat her down in the same chair, gave her, of course, her own tip to Ozone, her own tooth that needed the root canal, supposedly. And she went through 2 cycles today. And then she talked about her foot nail fungus, and so we put her feet in a bucket of water with the ozone machine, and then she watched Dr. Schellenberger talk on the video on YouTube, and when she left, she had no pain for the tooth that supposedly needs a root canal. Her feet were happy, the nail fungus is on its way out, and things were going really good.
Wow. This should be front page news.
Yeah,
this should be, first of all, every dentist in in this country and beyond should be utilizing. Are there it's more acceptable and used regularly in other countries, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Of course.
Countries.
Good
80 countries.
Good old America. We always are the last to do anything good. 80 countries.
80
it's
countries.
It's used in.
Yeah.
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 Wow. And most people don't even know. If you say ozone or ozone therapy or ozone for dentistry, they don't know. They've never even heard of it.
And then you have to feel bad for people because they say, oh, maybe it'll work. And then they go on the internet and they discover all of the negatives that are put out there by the other side.
Oh, I know those people. Yeah.
Yeah. So the FDA and Big Pharma and the AMA and the ADA, I suppose mean well. I suppose they really want to help the people.
I don't suppose that.
Christine.
I'm sorry. I'm speaking for myself and not the Ozone Tooth Fairy. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ozone Tooth Fairy.
Well, we try to be nice. We want to help everybody. We will even help those people if they show up. But there's this thing called Rockefeller medicine that pays the allopathic side to continue what they're doing, inventing more drugs that are not adequately tested, doing more procedures that put metal and other things into your body that aren't really properly tested. And so we have ozone. Ozone can correct almost all of the mishaps that can happen, including overdosing with meds, all kinds of things. And so I've learned what I know about ozone from the YouTube. The YouTube is wonderful. You can type in ozone therapy and your health problem, diabetes, foot neuropathy, foot gangrene from diabetic foot, any kind of function, glandular dysfunction, liver dysfunction. And on YouTube, you will find people telling you what I call a grassroots way of using ozone. And ozone can be generated from, like I said before, the $100 machine or the much fancier, over $1,000 setup that uses an oxygen tank. Many of the really, really sick people that I see in pain, not able to make good decisions for themselves, really have a hard time making the oxygen tank work and getting the oxygen tank filled. For some reason, oxygen is a medically controlled substance. Now, figure that one out. But anyway, it's so difficult for these people to just take care of themselves that we recommend the ozone machines that use room air. And there's plenty of different brands. There's A to Z in Kentucky. There's Enali in China. There's various other suppliers that you'll find on eBay, because here in California ozone generators are not sent via Amazon, which is another. There's all these blocks.
Wait a second. Repeat that. Ozone. You can't buy an ozone machine on Amazon?
Nope.
Really?
No, not for the last 3 years.
You know why?
No. Do you?
Because it works.
Oh, there. It certainly works.
Because it works.
Yeah.
Wow. So, but you could get it. You could do it on eBay.
Yeah, eBay.
eBay. Little commercial for eBay. Go to eBay. eBay.
Yeah. So you type in ozone generator, and my preference is Enali AT300 right now, and you'll see the sellers selling it for anywhere from something like $87 all the way up to $130, something like that. And you want the one that can ship from America, because you're most likely to get 110 volts.
Yes.
And it comes quicker. So that's good. So I have to tell you another story.
Yes.
This 70-year-old lady, slender, beautiful, coiffed perfectly, nicely dressed, was crying. And she said, I've been to 3 dentists, and they all said the only thing to do was extract all my teeth and give me dentures for $30,000.
Oh, God.
So I said, well, what do I know? 3 dentists, 8 years of education, each of them. They had to pass their boards. They must know something.
And they wanted to take all of her teeth out.
All of her teeth. So she was sobbing, very pretty little lady. And so I said, well, my plan is I'll see you once a week for 5 weeks, and I'll just use a little disposable toothbrush with some maybe hydrogen peroxide gel on it, and the ozone, and a big fan, and we'll just run this all around all of your teeth and kill all the germs. And then that ozone energy, which you can learn about from Dr. Schallenberger's latest video. Type in Schallenberger 2018 and you'll get the video that I had a patient watch today. And so we did this 5 times, and then once a month for a year. So we're just plodding along with this, and time goes by, and she's really cute, and her teeth aren't wiggly anymore, and there's no more germs, and the teeth are getting whiter, and she's pretty happy. So one day she comes in, and she says, oh, I'm so sorry. I did what you told me not to do. And I said, well, what the heck was that? And she said, well, my mouth was feeling so good that I went to a 4th dentist who didn't have any records on me. He didn't know anything about me. He'd never seen me before. He didn't know any of my friends. I mean, just a totally different dentist. And he took x-rays all around. Now, this is 4 sets of x-rays in a year. This lady should be glowing.
Right.
But ozone will fix that. And then... And then he took his little sharp instrument and he probed all around. 1 and 2s and 3s. There weren't any 4-millimeter pockets. And he wiggled at each tooth and nothing wiggled. And so he finished up his exam and he said, you're fine. I'll see you in a year. You don't need anything.
Wow.
She didn't even need a little filling. She didn't need anything. He wasn't going to drag her back for root planing and all that stuff. She was fine.
So the pain and the suffering and the financial loss that she could have had was completely solved with ozone.
Absolutely.
And the Ozone Tooth Fairy.
Yes.
You.
Yes. But I can teach anybody to do this. It doesn't need special talent. The ozone is also called God's breath. It does it. It's way beyond anything that I thought of. And it's the most amazing substance. So, this little $100 machine sucks in room air, which is 18% oxygen, and it puts this room air in a coronal discharge tube. That means it's a glass tube, and the electricity from the wall makes a lightning storm inside there, and these O2s crash around together to make O3, and this is this healing substance that goes into your body and makes you 22 again.
That's amazing. What you recommend people watch the videos? What was the name again? Dr. Schallenberger.
Frank Schallenberger. And he's in Carson City, Nevada. He was in Marin County in the 70s, and then he and Dr. Rowan in Grass Valley and Dr. Robbins in New York City, all these guys and others, were working together with ozone and discovered how well it healed all these medical conditions when they got wind that the California Medical Association was about to take away their license. So the trick is you run to another state and get a license, and then you give back your California license. He paid a small fine, and since then he's been working wonderfully, healing people of all kinds of cancers and all kinds of things. Because he's an MD, he can do all this, and a great success. I've been to him myself, and he's just a very wonderful person. And so watch his videos, and there's lots of them. And if it's too much science for you, go find a science friend and say, what in the heck did he say? Or even skip over that part. That it just doesn't matter. So just watch his videos. And then you'll come across Dr. Conrad, who's an MD ophthalmologist who treats people how to save their eyes. So anyway, there's lots of information out there on the good side. And you'll still keep running across the negative stuff like ozone will kill you. Well, so will that Pacific Ocean. Mm-hmm. But we know not to go out and be shark bait.
Right.
We know when we're scuba diving that we are cautious.
Right.
And so with anything on the planet, you just have to be cautious. I mean, even crossing the street, you got to be a little cautious.
Well, and there's always going to be that the flip side that comes at it, especially if that's how it's been, the way it's been for so long. When you're doing something a little bit different or against the grain, you're going to have that. But I'm curious too, because I know I personally have witnessed the benefit of ozone with my own teeth after just very few sessions with you. What are some of the other applications of ozone that you have either used yourself and noticed, or you have witnessed in others? Because I mean, it seems like the list is pretty long of ailments or things that are that could use the assistance of ozone therapy. But what are some of you mentioned a few before, but what are some of the other ones?
Well, I can tell you a good story. One of my regular patients who we had miraculous front tooth improvements between what I do and Invisalign. And then one day her mom called. Her mom was 82, and she said, well, I went to the dentist because my gums were bleeding, and he said I needed $10,000 worth of gum treatments. And Grandma said, well, to the dentist, well, my first house didn't cost $10,000. What in the heck are you going to do? Well, she was not satisfied with his response. So the daughter called me, and sure enough, we made an arrangement where Mom and Dad could come from Palm Springs over to daughter's house, and I'm going to treat Mom twice a day, just to breed her mouth with the ozone and a toothbrush, nothing more. Mm-hmm. And she can have some ozonated water, and we'll rub a little ozone oil on the gums when we're done. And so 10 o'clock and 5 o'clock, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we did this. And then, of course, Saturday they go home. But as they were coming into the office, I noticed grandpa, 82 years old also, retired engineer, very elegant man, had Parkinson's. And he also had a dog on a 20-foot leash. It's a little Shih Tzu kind of dog. Cute little thing. But they don't mind, so they don't do what you say. So the dog is on the leash. The man's getting out of the car. He can't get started walking, and then he's walking too fast. And then he almost crashes. And then his little finger's tremoring. His little baby finger is just shaking like crazy. And he can't talk in full sentences. So as soon as we got Mom set up to do what we were going to do for her teeth, I said to the daughter, go set your dad up at the desk over there and put the ozone stethoscope in his ears. So the ozone gas comes out of a little $100 box, and it goes through a water bath, mason jar water bath, and then through a stethoscope into his ears. And so he sat there. Oh my gosh, he was so cooperative. And he sat there with the dog on his lap and dutifully sat there with the stethoscope putting ozone gas into his ears. And it goes straight away into the brain and the eyes, and it just totally makes his head healthy. And so he did this 10 o'clock, 5 o'clock, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now, Wednesday at 5:45 or so, when he got up out of the chair and took the stethoscope off, he was walking normal heel toe. His baby finger was not tremoring, and he decided he was going to have this big old conversation with me in whole sentences.
Oh, wow.
He wasn't forgetting where he was going with his conversation. And so, of course, the family was delighted, because who wants to hang around an old guy who can't talk?
Right.
You know? You're like, okay, what are we going to say? You know, is this some sort of charades? What's the next word?
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, that was an incredible success. And I'm just so delighted to be able to help that family. And we've had lots of other good things going. I was helping a very pretty lady, maybe 60-year-old lady, long blondish hair and very elegant. And we were whitening her teeth with the ozone, which is what happens automatically without trying. And this man that looked like a homeless person was standing in the doorway. And I was very shocked that they had this normal conversation. And then when they were done, I said to him, Bill, I learned his name was Bill from the conversation. Bill, why are you so yellow? He was like yellower than that sunflower picture behind him. His skin was yellow. Why are you so yellow? I said. And he was dressed like a homeless person. A comb had not seen that hair for a very long time. His feet were dirty. His sandals were all downtrodden. Everything about him. I thought he was a homeless person. And so he told me a story. He has, for the last 2 years, been treated by a liver specialist because his liver is failing. 2 years. Treatments. He ran out of money. He totally ran out of money. And he said in a very meek voice, I'm waiting to die. Oh, how awful is this? And so I jumped up from treating his lady friend, and I took him in another room, and I took this ozone machine, and I did what Dr. Schallenberger said. I said, here, put this in your family jewels. So he actually just put the ozone tube right there next to the family jewels. And so we left him there for an hour, and that was okay. He had a nice time. So next week, he came back and did that on Tuesday about 10 o'clock and Friday about 10:30. And so my cohort worker person that helps me I said, try and get Bill to buy his own ozone machine. He could do this at home. And so after 6 months of him treating himself twice a week, less than 5 hours a week, in my office, then he finally got his own little $100 machine and was treating himself at home. And then I was on a little vacation 6 months later. When I got back from my vacation, there's this guy. He came in my office like he knew me, and he was very wonderful. He had nice haircut, and he had on a nice sweater and no wrinkles. He had on a pair of slacks with a crease. He had on leather shoes. And I'm going, is that Bill? And so I said, what happened? And he said, well, while you were gone, I went to a liver specialist in LA, and I had $3,500 worth of tests done on my liver. And a week later, I went back, and he said, Bill, instead of dying of your liver, you have the liver of a 22-year-old. Now, so I quizzed him. I said, okay, now, Bill, what did you do besides putting that ozone tube running next to your privates there? He said, did you change your diet? No. Did you add nutritional supplements? No. Did you do anything? He said, no, that's all I did. So there you go.
That's all he did was the ozone treat.
The power of ozone going into the highly vascular area about 5 hours a week for a year. That was it.
Amazing.
And so now he's in Europe. Turns out he writes music for the movie industry. And he's back to being a totally successful music writer.
Wow, I love that story.
Every single story is like heartbreakingly sweet, wonderful, makes you want to cry.
And that's why you do what you do, isn't it? That's why you do what you do.
Absolutely.
Oh. Are there physicians, dentists and regular medical physicians that you are aware of here in the United States that are at least starting to incorporate ozone in their treatment with people?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's and I always forget these little names of things, OOAT or something like that. Dr. Mark Weiser in Santa Barbara on State Street organizes lectures. The next one is going to be in Santa Barbara down near the ocean on State Street on the first weekend in November. WEISER, and you could call his office. Actually, it's better to go online because he works 3 days a week as an ozone dentist, but the rest of the time he's pretty much organizing. A couple of weeks ago, he couldn't make it to work on Wednesday because he was stuck in Vietnam, where they had done a lecture on ozone therapy. So he and his group travel all around the world and teach ozone to the local physicians and dentists, naturopaths, anybody that'll listen. And so their ever-growing number, Dr. Schallenberger in Carson City, Nevada, does frequent, more than monthly ozone lectures for medical doctors, dentists, chiropractors, anybody who wants to listen. He gives a certificate. There's testing. And then I'm not really prepared with a whole bunch of names and numbers.
Oh, that's okay. No.
Just
go
but
on
there
the
are
internet. So there are some others,
and you'll find them. Yeah.
I was curious too, and I had just seen this. I saw this on the internet, so it does not necessarily mean it's true. But did Tesla not invent ozone, but did Tesla create the mechanism for the creation of ozone?
In about 1905, he had the first company that sold ozone machines to the public.
Wow.
So prior to that, in about 1730, an engineer in Germany was inventing an engine. And as the sparks come through, it creates ozone. Just like ozone is created in a lightning storm. So I've had children say it smells just like a snowball. And also, ozone is created in the breakers of the waves out here. This is why we love to go to the beach.
Right.
Yeah. So 1830 or so, there was another inventor, MD, who worked with ozone. But the problem was they didn't have anything but rubber tubing, and ozone dissolves rubber. Ozone dissolves latex. So as an aside, if you use ozone to sit on it or work on your family jewels, the elastic in your underwear will give out, and your unders will be very large. So you have to be careful with that one. We usually have people ozone their entire body with a hazmat suit, like a Tygon suit.
What?
Yeah. You just take a hot shower, put on your Tygon suit, stick the ozone in there, and now you've got a full body spa. It's warm.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, for $15 for a Tygon painter's outfit, including the helm, the hood, and the booties. You can ozone your whole body, just like a $3,000 clamshell spa that you might see in a spa situation. So we do grassroots ozone. We just find more and more ways to substitute what the expensive services are, and we make them cheap and easy. Yeah. So anyway, 1730 or so, ozone was noticed, a peculiar odor, as he was making this electric engine. Then 1830, the medical doctor was using ozone. By 1890, it was a common treatment. Then, like you say, Tesla was in the act, and he did a lot of patents. He was a wonderful inventor.
Yes.
And he did have hundreds, maybe thousands of patents. And one of them was for this ozone machine that he made and sold. And he had the Tesla Ozone Machine Company. And you can see pictures of this on the internet. And then in 1917, 18, 19, the men coming back from the First World War were treated with ozone for their trench mouth, infected gums and teeth, and trench foot. Mold, fungus, rotten feet, toenails, whatnot, because we didn't have antibiotics at that point. So the ozone was the first line of health care in the 1917, 18, 19. And then there's a lot of history going on. At the same time, Rockefeller medicine came into being, and that's a whole different story. And then by 1934, Big Pharma got together and decided to try to put a stop to ozone. So the people trained in their medical schools for ozone use in healthcare up to that point were still practicing up until about 1950. And then by then, all of those medical people had retired, passed on, whatever. And so basically, our doctors really don't know anything about ozone. So downstairs from my office is a 45-year-old wonderful MD. He's sweet as pie. And so I was in there one day, and I said to him, no, I don't want an endoscopy. I don't want this. I don't want mammogram. I don't want any of this stuff because I have ozone. And the sweet medical doctor said, oh, I know what that is. You get 2 live wires and a piece of tinfoil. And I said, no, actually, we have calibrated machines so that we know the strength of the ozone that we're putting out for various conditions. So I don't know if today's MDs don't want to know, or it infringes on their space, or they get in trouble. You know, it's really sad because that deprives the population
of medicine of
holistic health care.
Holistic healthcare. Right?
Yeah.
Affordable healthcare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. So for me, it's been a 9-year journey, and I love it, and it's just the greatest thing I want to share with everybody.
That's why I wanted to have you on the show.
Oh,
That's why I wanted to have you on the show. So, is there, while you have people's attention, are there anything that you want to tell them as far as doing their own research? I know that we gave out some YouTube videos that they can look at. There was also a book. Was there a book about the different ozone, different ozone applications that you can use?
There's an awesome book that was written a year ago, and it's called Heal Yourself with Ozone.
Heal Yourself with Ozone, and this is by Paula Horan, PhD, full of practical suggestions. This is a pioneering book about oxygen-based approaches to healing. So this is a must-have book.
Yeah, and it's just everything she and her staff found on the internet last year. So it was published July 17. And you can pick it up and read it anywhere. It's got all kinds of cool information.
There's thing here on ozonated colonics.
Oh yeah.
So you can use ozone in a colonic.
Yeah. So a lot of the colon hydrotherapists that seem to like me and befriend me want me to show them how to put the ozone water delivery into their apparatus, and so it kills the germs as well as washing the whatnots away, and people heal quicker. So that's very, very successful. So there's just no end to all the things you can do with it.
And what's that? What's that?
This is Dr. Schallenberger's book that he published last year, and it was specifically for the lay people. He wrote another book that sold for $65 that he used to teach the medical doctors. But just recently on Amazon, it's now $650. But this one is still $20. So this one is called The Ozone Miracle, How You Can Harness the Power of Oxygen to Keep You and Your Family Healthy. So it's written by Frank Schallenberger, MD.
And people can get that on Amazon?
Oh, Amazon, absolutely. Yeah, and I think it's $20. And there's a picture of nice, sweet Dr. Schallenberger on the back side. He graduated from medical school in '73. And he's been president of this and that, and he's definitely promotes ozone, and there's lots of good recipes. He's an MD, so he's going to want you to use the machine that uses an oxygen tank. But remember, we are grassroots. We use the $100 machine that uses ambient air. So you can always interchange them, except if you were to inject the ozone under the skin, which we don't do. Not necessary. We can do bagging, insufflation,
yes,
rectal.
I've heard of that. I've heard of someone had mentioned that they had at a dentist an injection of ozone into the gum.
Yeah, the dentist can inject the ozone into
but that's
the
not
infection.
Necessary, is what you're saying.
No, not necessary.
Right.
Because it's a brief treatment, short in time, whereas if they have the machine at home, they can treat themselves 5 minutes every hour for 2 or 3 days. The problem's gone. They could follow up with care, of course. We always like follow-up. And so they can save hundreds of dollars and a lot of time, because nobody wants to sit around waiting for the dentist.
I tell you, I was always very not afraid, but I really did not look forward to going to the dentist, and I was not really looking forward to getting my teeth cleaned. And you have made it so that not only do I look forward to it, I do look forward to it, to seeing you, because also I want you to see the improvement that's happened in my mouth, because it has been profound.
It has been.
Yeah.
It has been.
Very, very profound.
Yeah, when I first saw you, you definitely had gingivitis.
Yes.
And anybody could truly recommend that you should have 4 sessions of $750 periodontal scaling with lots of shots, lots of anesthetic, lots of blood.
Lots of drilling and scraping and...
Yeah, and so we bypassed that in 3, 45-minute appointments.
Yeah.
And you did a little homework yourself with
Yes.
ozone oil.
Yes.
You were very cooperative.
Yes. So
Thank
tell people about tell people about the ozone oil.
Oil. So we can make our own oil. You can make your own ozone oil. So you get this little machine, and you get one of the oils that have the maximum number of double bonds. So those are going to be the ozone. They're going to be the oils that are liquid at room temperature. So the best ones that have the most double bonds are sunflower, flax, and hemp. Now, coconut oil has almost no double bonds available for grabbing up the ozone, and olive oil only has half as many as the first 3 I mentioned. So it would only be reasonable to use the top ones. Right. So you put hemp, sunflower, or flax, a pint of oil in the bottom of a gallon glass container, and you put your little ozone delivery tube of gas down in there and let it bubble as long as you want. At least 3 hours and as much as 3 weeks. And now you have ozonated oil that sells for $50 per ounce on the internet, because it takes a long time to do, but you can do it yourself at home. And now this oil carries all the therapeutic products of antibiotics. It's amazing. So your cat scratches you, you just wipe a little bit of that on the skin. You can wash it if you want to. You don't need hydrogen peroxide. You don't need anything that burns.
You brush your teeth with it, with a little bit of a little bit of toothpaste, without fluoride, folks, but just like a little bit of natural toothpaste. Mix it or put the oil on the toothbrush.
Yeah, just 2 or 3 drops.
Yeah.
And then you can brush with that every day, a couple of times a day.
And it's also, this is something, I know it's not the health aspect, but I've heard that it's also used for beauty.
Oh, yes. It's
Please
really
tell
good.
us about that, because I'm always interested in that.
Yeah, so in the evening when it's time to go to bed, you wash your face like you usually do, and then instead of putting a cream on, put a few drops of ozonated oil on your fingers and rub it around your eyelashes. That'll kill the mites, and then you rub it all over your face, and then after 2 minutes you kind of blot it off and then go to bed. And it's good for wrinkles. It shrinks your pores. It just does all these wonderful things. It even goes through the skin and can help drain the puffy eyes and all kinds of things. So give it a try.
I love this. And also, there's uses for pets as well.
Yeah.
Talk about the use for pets. Well, it's flea season here at the beach in particular. Is there a way to help your animal, your baby pets?
Sure.
With fleas?
I like to sit on the floor with a large trash bag and a puppy, and I usually put the puppy on a towel, like a nice big beach towel, and then I pretend like I'm petting the dog, but I actually have my hand in a sandwich bag, and the ozone delivery tube is next to the pet's skin, and I'm rubbing the pet's belly down where the fleas are, and then I come up around the neck. And remember, when you use ozone, you always want to have a nice big fan to blow away the extras. And you just keep that up, and about 20-25 minutes later, the pet's going to jump up and walk off, go pee, go lay down, take a nap. It's very relaxing. The ozone is good for the brain, and it kills the fleas and the mites and the ticks. And if you did this once a week, your dog would be fresh and clean, and probably wouldn't even have to bathe them, because it would take care of all the everything. It's good.
Well, you sold me, Ozone Tooth Fairy. You sold me. I want to thank you so very much for letting our listeners know about a little bit more about the history of ozone and the many uses of ozone and the success stories of ozone, because now all of our listeners are going to be looking it up and finding out for themselves.
Perfect.
So you did your magic.
Thank you.
You
Tooth
did your
Fairy
magic.
says thank you for trying it out.
And I want to thank you, listeners, for listening today. Remember, if you enjoyed the show and you want to share it with others, please do. You can share this link through either YouTube, you can share it easily in email or post it on your social media, or you can share the actual audio version of the show from the podcast, which is outoftheboxwithchristine.podbean.com. And please do share this information with as many people as you can. Until next time, I want to thank you. I thank you again, Ozone Tooth Fairy.
Thank you, Christine. Good work.
And we'll talk to you very, very soon. And as I always say, remember to think outside of the box. Bye for now.